Good. Yeah, they were good. They've been good the whole time. They're positive. They had energy. Missed a lot of things, but we haven't had any tape. We haven't had anything to show them. So I think we go leaps and bounds, and probably a little better than I thought. We took care of the ball all right. But a lot of we didn't have many offsides and bad snaps, and made some plays. So I thought it was a good first day. I thought, but you just look for, sometimes when it's, and I've said this when I walked in, maybe it's not a losing culture, but we've lost some games here. But I didn't see the negativity. I didn't see any negativity today, and I saw guys coming together and working, and I think they'll come together more when they watch the tape tomorrow and before we go through. So I kind of told them that beforehand. I just said, look, I'm not making any judgment. I make judgment, but I'm not going to do a whole lot till the second day, and then we'll keep the install on day 2 pretty basic and make sure we correct the mistakes, because we just haven't had tape with the guys that way. But they worked hard. We got some new guys, and we got new coaches, and I think those guys, the assistants, have been great and been really positive.
How do you take so many good ideas in a room, I'm sure there's tons, including some of yours, and distill that down into this is what we really need to focus on for the next movement?
Well, you put things on, I wouldn't say you throw things on the wall, make them stick and see if they stick. I mean, the schemes are proven, at college level and the NFL and here in Nebraska and Oregon and Central Florida and places I've been, and Steelers and Eagles, whatever. So really getting to know the personnel, and that's what we've always done, is try to get the best guys, but we really want to, start these days, the first 2 days in helmets, just a few years back, probably 6-7 years ago, I just kind of made a decision with a couple of people we talked about in a clinic, is we're doing a little more inside zone stuff this way. We're not gap scheming in, and we're really put in the 2-minute offense, which we're trying to play fast and understand things that way. And I thought they handled that pretty well. Conceptually, and then we haven't done a whole lot of it, so those terms, so that was kind of always been the emphasis the first 2 days, since you're not in pads, and then the third day will be more of a gap scheme and hard ball and some things that way. So just the details with the linemen running their tracks, and there's a few audibles in there and different cadences. So I as I said, with those things, I thought they handled them pretty well.
You've had a guy or guys put up pretty significant numbers almost everywhere you've been. How long does it take out on the field to figure out who that is, or how you want to, attack, and who you want to attack with?
Well, what we say is you put it on tape. So those guys that, now you got tape to show them, and then the guys that are getting open and understand the game. And that's all phases. It's offensive line and things that way. And so, as I said, it doesn't matter if you have an 0-10 team, you got a best player, so we try to get the best player of the ball. Is it the running back, maybe? Is it a wide receiver? Is it the quarterback? So feature those guys is what I've always tried to do. If it's tight end, we said Brenneman at UMass led the country, and so we got a bunch of good players, and we got 3 starters out right now, which unfortunately, but we know that they can play, so I think we're going to build depth down the road, and then try to figure out, obviously, what the quarterback feels comfortable with, work that around, things that way.
When the first snap to
Casey Thompson.
Not that that's surprising, but why did you like him?
Because he's number 1 now,
Why is
And
he
it-
number 1?
I think you can answer that.
I'd be curious.
I think he's the best one right now, so might change tomorrow. There's nothing set in stone, but yeah, Casey, and Chubba got a little bit of a nick, so he didn't get much. Logan's done a good job. Those 3 Heinrichs, all those kids have done a really good job. Heinrich gets some reps. So right now we're looking at more reps than, we're running 2 huddles, 2 thuds, which is a great thing about numbers. So we got a lot of tape to watch, and I think those guys can progress quite a bit. But just the way Casey's gone about his business and things that way, and he was the best guy in the Skelly stuff that they did on air. I didn't get to see it, but I had those guys give me their stats and what they did. So, but we've got enough. What I saw today, attitude-wise and talent, that we've got enough there to be more than successful.
When you talk about trying to find your best players, do you look at that more in terms of consistency, or is that about just the most talented, most upside?
Yeah, both, I think, and games are different, but we got some guys, those guys that we're looking at right now have all played in games, played major college football, so, and I'm getting to see what do they do a little bit different and try to put those guys in different situations. There's guys that'll go across the middle. That doesn't mean they're tough and everything else. There's other guys that aren't as good at that. There's guys that run better corner routes or seam routes than a receiver. What the tight ends can do and teach them how to read man and zone where they're sitting down in the zones and in the man. And we've got some things receiver-wise that we're asking them to read off of corners and safeties on route conversions, which I don't think they've done here as much. So those things come into play, so they'll get to see those on film. We're trying to teach the guys leverage, so we're just trying to teach them as much football that way. And I think most of the time in a throw game, which since we don't have pads, we're working a little bit more throw stuff, is just the depth. I think that the deeper you can run the routes, the better spacing you're going to get overall, and that's what we're trying to look at. And then put your best guys in those positions.
In spring of 20, what did Jordan Addison do in his first spring with you guys to show you, like, this is a guy we should build around?
Well, he only had 3 practices. But, I knew before the practices because a couple of the upperclassmen said this guy's the real deal, And then I think the second practice at Pitt, he ran a crossing route. He ran a post conversion, and the backside safety hit him square on. He spun out of it and went for a touchdown. So at that point, I think every great player has those moments where then everybody just knew that we made him the starter right then. And as I said, the best players are going to play. And, we expanded his role, which is what we want to do. We want to build depth. That means a guy's got to be able to play X and Z, and then he's got to be able to play R and Z, and then they got to be able to play. If we go to 4 wides, they got to be able to play the E man, so that way. And then there's different things in 2 backs or 1 back and 2 tight end sets that they've got to do. So we're trying to get all those things on tape. So I guess getting back in spring, I'm trying to get all the concepts on tape so they can study them. We had some walkthroughs. This is phase 1 where we have all those things on tape. Now when they go home, they come back for summer, all that stuff they got to do on their own. They have tape to watch. The quarterbacks can show them that part. So that would be day 2. And then we get to camp again and move those guys around and try to build depth throughout and before you get to the first game. So there's really 3 phases, which is, to me, the beauty of being in college over the NFL where you don't get that opportunity. You just don't get as much practice time in the off season where you can develop the kids. And to me, that's a lot of the fun in coaching.
Is it important for you to have, for the other guys on the offense to know who the starting quarterback is by the end of spring ball? Like, is that something you'd like to determine in the next 5 weeks, or can that go into preseason camp?
We're not going to, to me, it's not about so much that, it's about the development of everybody in a quarterback room or those things, or the running back room or things that way. It's finding out who the leaders are, which to my mind, I'm the leader, okay? I'm the offensive leader. That's what I was brought here for. So it'll all go through me. So, so it's not, this day and age, it's changed because I think the speed of the game, just more quarterbacks get hurt. Why? I think it's because you're throwing it more. If you run an option, chance he's going to get hurt. You go through. Kenny Pickett got hurt the first 2 years I worked with him, and now third year I said, you're too valuable. You have to be able to get rid of the ball and slide and do those things and know when you need to. That's what we have to do with the first 2 guys. So you're getting reps. The one thing here, we're getting 2 huddles. We're getting 48 snaps of Skelly. We never could do that at Pitt. We got 2 team periods. It's awesome, all right? It's just we got 48 plays a team. We got things that coach in that way. So your development, I think, can be amped up, obviously, with the more reps and getting those things. So that's what I've seen. Advantages being here at Nebraska is, we're going to be there all day watching tape, and then that's throughout the spring, is building libraries for these guys. And then we build their own locker. They're going to watch themselves throughout, and then and point out it's always that first day. It's always, hey, you don't want to be negative. It's saying here's why, here's whatever it is. That way, I think kids question a little bit more. And hey, open, what'd you see? Tell me, on both sides. And that's what I saw today, was coaching these guys has been really fun. They're not, I can get tough at times, but they're big-eyed, big-eared, they're trying to learn, they're trying to do things right. And then you add we had a 2-minute drill today. There was a lot of teaching in that. We had 2 of them. All right, we're playing fast, we're sitting that way. I asked some of the guys that was good, what was it down in distance? They're learning plays, and then all of a sudden they got to learn it down in distance. They got to learn when they're getting out of bounds and things that way, which we can teach off the tape. Which I think, as I said earlier, when you look at the NFL playoffs, every single game came down to 2 minutes. All right, that's 7 points, 3 points. It's in the Big Ten. That's what it's going to come down to. How do you handle those situations? So that's why we kind of try to put them in a pressure situation right away. And we weren't successful today. We missed a field goal and should have got it down more, but it was a lot of teaching in there, and then turn the ball over where normally I would have run it. But that's the teaching part that we can get to and get better, and as I said, there was some disappointment and understanding. I think we can always teach situational awareness. Later on will be red zone, it'll be backed up and those things. So I thought they did a good job in that first part of the 2 minute.
What are the impressions of your running backs that you have on this roster right now, besides those guys?
They're coachable, they work hard, but there's a lot of guys that look good until you put the pads on. So it's running the right tracks, and we've done some of those with the walkthroughs. So we need them to finish better. We need everybody to finish better. I think that's been a point where, hey, take the extra step, all things that way. I think they catch the ball pretty well overall. The pass pro thing takes a while. It takes a while. We've done a little bit of that in a walkthrough, but till really Saturday will be a chance to see, where everybody's tagging off. Now we don't want to get anybody hurt, where you can see somebody play with pad level and coach them at that point.
Can you win in this league without a 1,000-yard back, a guy that you can really build it around, or can you do it with a committee of a couple guys?
There's positives in both. I mean, we use 3 at Pitt. We like guys that are different. The NFL, we did all right with Jerome was the veteran, and Willie Parker, and we had Brian Westbrook, and I can't think of the other guy's name. Great kid, but you need a couple 3. Same thing. It's a physical league. You want to get 3 ready and possibly 4. So there could be third down, a guy that's really good in the throw game and good in protection. Could be a third down back, which a lot of times you use in the NFL, and I've used that. Last year we had a young freshman, and we didn't want to put a lot on his plate, but he was a good running back. We said he's going to finish games, get in the second quarter, and develop the guys as we go. It's a long season. So, it's until we're not going to know our team really till probably, I would think, till after, looking ahead in the Oklahoma game, or you go the first 6 to that point. What kind of group do you have? You see them in the pressure that way, and so we got a bunch of those guys back there, and I like the way they started today.
You have a defensive head coach for 3 previous years at Pitt, or Juicy, and Nebraska. It's an offensive head coach. How was that on day 1, and how has that been in general? Like, do you feel like you have to just tell them, hey, I got it, you can go with the defense or whatever, or do you collaborate?
No, we're collaborative. We're in there watching tape right now. Frosty's got ideas, some things that way, and I got some, and we're playing it back. That's what we've done all this time. Said, hey, he likes this. Yeah, let's look at this, He's got great experience. He's a great football coach, so kind of putting it together that way. Bringing some stuff from the NFL, which I think is what we want to try to sell this program and get you to the league. That's as I always said when I was the head coach at Brown, I told those kids I had 12 or 15 guys become doctors. All right, there wasn't the NFL. All right, there were some of them that went to the NFL, but here I'm not saying we don't have doctors, but that's here's how it's done. Here's why we're doing it. All right, here's the tape as we go. They'll watch the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll take cut-ups from that point. the same play, same routes, same things that way, down the road in the off season. So, but yeah, Frosty's at, we've changed, we've kept the terminology, and I had a couple screw ups. I told the kids that's just part of it. I'm used to one system, but I'm smart enough to figure it out. So we're keeping a lot of the terminology so our guys can play fast, and I saw that. A lot of the concepts, I've called a couple of things that said would have been the way I've called it since I was with Philadelphia in 2008. It just comes out. So, I got to clean that stuff up. So, as I told the guys, it's the most important thing that you could do today and in spring is play the next play. All right, just let that one roll off, and whether it's good or bad, play the next play. And that's always kind of been an adage that I think is, guys wouldn't do that early at Pitt, and finally they did that, and they got themselves a ring, and that's what we're hoping to do here at Nebraska.
At your college stops, how much do you ideally want to put on the center in terms of, protection or communication calls, and what's that like here? Because you've got new guys, obviously.
Both. And Donnie's played a lot of football, in the NFL. Some people, Mike Point, some things that way. So we want our centers to know that. And then the quarterback could flip. He could move protections on certain blitzes that way. But we want the center, those guys. We'll have blitz meetings where the center and the lineman are there and the quarterback, so we're all on the same page, and the backs as we go on. There were some blitzes Chin gave today that we didn't see. There'll be some more down the road, which is really good against our defense. But both people more that knows. There's sight adjustments that we're trying to teach the guys. Same thing they'd have if a couple of years they get to the NFL, safety blitz or corner blitz. We're going to do some things that way, which it's hard. We taught it, but until they see it on tape, will it really come through?
You mentioned Jordan Addison at Pitt. When you got there, somebody said he's a real deal. Is that a guy here that maybe somebody has kind of said?
We only went the first. We got talent. We got guys that can run. I think we're faster than we were at Pitt overall. Jordan wasn't a 5-star recruit or anything, but it's more like you get in there's mentally how the things that way. You could go with it, but Jordan's a special guy, and we have some guys here that I think could fall. And the good thing is the things Jordan did, we're doing the same things that the guys can watch the tape. They've watched it. They have an idea. That's why today was maybe better than I thought. I haven't gone through the tape yet, where you can at least they're not blowing the routes, but the depths and the things that way will come through. But they've had a chance to watch all those, and I think it's certainly helped us.
Mark, your quarterback's normally a leader on the team. How difficult or challenging is it for two new guys to come in and have guys who've been here follow them and be leaders right away?
I don't know. You have to ask them. I don't.
I mean, is it a challenge? Because a quarterback, I'm guessing the quarterback's going to be your leader, right?
Well, yeah, but they got to understand what's going on. We spent a lot of time together, and then, but I think not as much as we will now that you got the tape to look at, But those guys they've been engaged. They want to learn. They had some success today. They had a couple bonehead mistakes, and I thought that was the one good thing. We'll see how, a couple guys made mistakes through a couple interceptions. You want to see how that guy handles it afterwards. What's the next play like? And more times than not, I'll go right back to a throw to let those guys know I got confidence in them. You make a mistake, we're not going to that way. I think it's Bradshaw said it, right? I threw 6 interceptions, let's keep Favre. I threw 6 interceptions, let's keep throwing it. That's what we want to do. Those guys, hey, if they can shrug it off, then everybody can shrug it off. So the same thing I said before was, hey, let's play the next play. So we're trying to coach them there. We're trying to get plays and all things that way. And I like to get feedback from those guys of what'd you see? What are you looking at? Where are your eyes? That part. And the guys that can see have a much better chance to be a top-level quarterback than the guys that aren't sure.
I apologize if you answered
That's right.
this already, but you saw the 2 quarterbacks that are new here. I mean, they're all new for you, but you know what I mean? Are they as good as advertised as you thought they would be in terms of day one?
I don't. I think coaching's important. And I don't want to knock anybody, but the Super Bowl award winner didn't win a playoff game, and all of a sudden he's a Super Bowl winner. I've been around a lot. I've been fortunate enough to be around a lot, and I've learned a lot from the quarterbacks. I've learned a lot from Ben and Tom Brady and Peyton, and I've been around those guys in those settings, or Tommy Maddox, and give you back. So I'm just trying to, give these guys information. You try to give them information by pre-snap reads and cadence things that can get them to be successful. So I think, as I said from earlier, that I really want to see what they're going to be like the second day, and if they've really grasped and can learn and move forward.
You broke down how the installation is going to go, but is it kind of like a hectic, frantic scene the first day? With so many bodies running around in this.
No, those guys did good, because I didn't know where the hell I was going. That's a different schedule. You think it is. I've been doing it one way for 3 years. I did it one way at UMass for 5 and Cleveland for 2, and all of a sudden I went out, and I'm thinking about the plays. I'm going, well, I don't even know where am I standing. I stand this way. Jay did a good job. The equipment guy goes, no, we're going here. The clock I had wrong. I was looking up. I think I got 9 clocks up there, but the 2-minute was behind me. I thought we had 21 seconds left. By the time out, we had 7. So, as I said, I'll tell the guys that. It's all work in progress. So, when they went out for kickoff, I thought I was going out. So you get your spacing, everything else. These guys have been here for a while, so I didn't look too out of place, but I'll get better at that also.
Coach, when you had Isabella and Sharp, was it easy to see with those guys too, how good they were, or was that more developmental?
Well, Tajay was a sophomore. We were there. He caught 60 passes as a freshman when I wasn't there. And, you could tell. You could tell that he was smart enough that we moved him from X to Z. Andy was was not a high. He was going to Air Force. He did not have a 1A scholarship. And I offered him the last day because he was the fastest kid in America, ran whatever it was, 60. So he was a running back, but when we put him in the first scrimmage, he hit a run for like 80 yards, and nobody was close to him, and was a tremendous worker. We moved him to receiver. He played some early, but not as successful as Jordan or Tajay, but we knew he had the ability and a hard worker. So, but the guys we have here, we got guys that can run, and they've been really positive, and I think Coach Joseph, Coach Kaz, and all the coaches done a really good job, and just as I said, it takes time, but the teaching will be elevated once we get to the tape tomorrow, when they can see themselves on their iPad. We'll see who's working on that way. With the questions they ask, there's always questions. This guy, like some of the comeback routes were short today, and saying you're not getting the ball because you're running 15. You need to run 18 to 20 yards, otherwise the corner doesn't get in his back pedal. So we're always giving them an answer why. Hey, it's not run this at 4 yards. There's a reason why. So that's the teaching process in the offense. So they're saying, you guys all want to get the ball. If you don't get to 14 on this route, you're not going to get the ball because the quarterback's going to bypass you in a progression. So I think with that part, we try to teach the receivers what the quarterback and what the offense is about, and why you need to get the depth, and all those things will get cleaned up once they see it.
In your experience doing installs, does it get pretty crisp by the middle of fall camp, or when do you start feeling?
Well, yeah, because they'll have this, as I said here, then we'll go ahead and redo it in the summer. Those guys will be on their own, but the pictures, and then they'll have tape with it. Then you come back to fall camp, and I'll add some other stuff, and then we start again from day one. And you got 3 times that I expected to be better, and we got the tape to show them that it's not getting better. Then I don't. Then my butt will be in trouble. So, but we'll get better, and because the attitude was in the right place, the guys were in the right place. Now maybe they're haven't been around enough to know they made a mistake. So that's when you really get to know. I knew at Pitt, and it took us some time, or UMass, when the guy came back and said, I got it, all right? I know I was wrong. Why are you looking at me like that, okay? So when they know they make a mistake, that's when you really can take another step forward.
When you marry the two, your philosophy and what Scott was doing before, does it always go to what you called it, or does it sometimes go to what he called it if you have similar
Combination.
concepts? Yeah, it's a combination.
It's a combination. So we're using the concepts. We've run a lot of the same concepts. We're using the terminology. So cash state. Stay cash 10 was circus poker. All right. So I have put it through my mind, which I've done this before, just of taking it so the kids know when they hear the terms what to do. We didn't want to revolutionized the whole thing. We didn't need to do that, all right? I said, I'll learn it and I'll do it that way, and the new coaches, and they've done a good job. So I think they're playing faster because of it. I think it was really good by coach.
You used 2 tight ends last year a lot at Pitt. Gavin Bartholomew, I think, was a young guy.
True freshman.
Exactly. Do you see with that specific group here, tight ends, just, kind of similarities to?
Yeah, there are, and we want to use multiple personnel. We'll go to 4 wides, which will come after probably. We'll see how they do the first week. We'll use 3 tight ends, might use 6 linemen. So we'll always have little things that way because the defense got to work on it, and that So we ended up going. The year before, we lost all our tight ends to COVID and injury, so we were in 4 wides a lot. But I want to get to 4 wides because I think we got guys that can run and speed-wise. And Bill would say if something happens in a game, you can go to something else. So.